Welcome to Guy Code, a podcast dedicated to imparting dad wisdom to my son, with your host, Koji Steven Sakai, and friends.
Alrighty, welcome. This is Koji, and this is episode number 50. Yay! I wanted to impart all of my wisdom to my son, but of course, my son already thinks he knows more than me. So instead of trying to tell him now and having it go one ear and out the other ear, I decided to record them here in the hopes that maybe, just maybe in the future when he's ready, he'll listen to my advice and not make the same stupid mistakes I made in my life. I also bring on guests to impart their advice as well. I have no doubt that their advice will be better than my advice. And this week I brought on my friend, my fellow podcaster, and she's my partner in a former podcast, Midnight Watchers, and a future one, so stay tuned to that. And actor Jenifer Field. Jenifer, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing great. I'm zooming in from Big Bear.
Oh wow, you're in Big Bear. I didn't realize that. That's far
I just
away.
came. I just came because my son and I were in isolation for COVID, right? For not the same time period. So we've been cooped up indoors, like not even taking a walk for like a month, basically, right? Because of the way the testing was. And I was like, this was like a total last minute booking. It seemed like it was like a room filler deal. So I got a kind of a okay deal. So we're just up here doing work from home,
Nice.
School from the snow.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, school. The way school is, it doesn't matter where you're from right now. You could just do it from anywhere, right?
I know. I have a friend that's been in Hawaii for like a month, and they've been just doing school there. So I was like,
Nice.
yeah.
Well, Jenifer, why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Thank you. Well, thanks for having me back, by the way. So I don't know what I talked about myself in the last episode when I came on, but let's see. Well, I'm starting out 2021 feeling optimistic. It was quite a year last year, and even though it was like considerably a difficult year for people, I had career-wise a really awesome time. I got to be on this sci-fi series that's on Twitch. It's the only narrative series on there, and it's called Artificial, and I got added for season 3, and we're still waiting for season 4, and I play like this eccentric maniacal psychiatrist. I'll just leave it at that. So that was awesome to be a part of that cast and crew, Artificial, on Twitch. And I'm a mom. My son turns 8. Oh gosh, I think it's next week.
Oh wow! Oh, I think we're the same age. Oh, he's 1 year younger than my son.
I think he's a year.
Okay.
Yeah, younger. I remember. Yeah, he'll be 8 next week, and I was hoping to get away with having no birthday party plans, but he wants some kind of like all-day Zoom play date. So I might be hitting up to Cal if he's interested for a 1-hour play date.
Sure. Yeah. Or they could do like play some games online or something.
Yeah, like I was like, do you want to do like a dance party Zoom, or he wants like individual play dates all day long on his birthday.
That's great.
So, so I got that to plan, and I mean, what can I say? We're healthy. It's a new year. I look forward to the changes.
And we're working on our podcast, which I'm really excited about. So.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
We're still.
We haven't even. Have you mentioned it yet on the Guy Code, like the name?
Okay. No, I've never mentioned anywhere yet, but it's. But we're really excited because this is the. I mean, I think of all the podcasts I've done, this is probably the closest. The one that we're doing together is the one I'm most excited about because it's the subject that I care most about. I mean, not that I don't care about my son or other stuff, but the subject we cover is going to be by far the most exciting thing I do. But why don't we get into it? Why don't we get into advice? So last time you came up, you did advice around things that that our parents should have told us, but now we're going to do general life advice. So Jenifer, why don't you get us started?
Okay. My first one is confidence. So generic, but honestly, not everybody always has it. And I believe in, if you have confidence, or at least if you fake confidence, that it will take you places you couldn't imagine. And it will just help sort of anything you're trying to work at, whether it's personal, professional, private. I believe that just believing that you can be cool and great and awesome at something, and just knowing you're cool, great, and awesome, it does wonders. It does wonders for you. And
And how do you teach that?
you know,
How do you teach confidence?
I think you fake it till you make it is my only way. And confidence, I think, usually means eye contact, speaking clearly so you're heard, speak up, right? Not mumbling or muttering, so that you are appearing like you want to be heard and listened to. I think those things, yeah, your voice, eye contact, that's a good starting point. Maybe, sitting like you're the president, sitting with confidence, sitting, with presence, I think helps. Like, you ever watch Biden when he does his speeches and he has like a stutter, right? Which is the most endearing thing. It's kind of, I think it's darling. But man, I know it's cute. He's just smoothing right through it. Confident. That's the way to do it. And with practice, you get better.
I mean, it takes time. I mean, I had a speech issue for most of my life when I was young. I went to speech therapy all the way through 5th grade, and there are days that no one understands me, where I have to like calm down, stop talking so fast, and like, especially when I, not as much anymore because people are home all the time now, but when I was by myself a lot and I hadn't talked to anybody, then you'll find like I start talking to my wife and she'll just be like, I don't understand a single word you're saying. And so I have to calm down and talk. But when I talk to a lot of kids that have speech issues, like my son, he goes to speech therapy, and I go on stage and I talk, and the first thing I talk about when I go on stage is, you might not understand me. If you don't understand me, raise your hand. I'll speak slower.
Like, just to kind of, get people to help you. And mind you, yes, of course, what my piece of advice has doesn't apply if you have speech therapy issues.
It's so confident though, it's like that I'm not afraid to go up there. I'm not afraid to talk still. That's what I like. Biden is very good about. He's still confident. Like, even when Trump was trying to, when he was doing his thing, why he's doing his thing, right? He's interrupting. Did you hear about that?
No, tell me. To get him to.
When people stutter, one of the best ways to get them to stutter more, one of the ways to throw stutterers off is to interrupt them. And that makes people stutter more. So he was trying to interrupt him to make him stutter more, which is like, that was his only strategy at that first debate, was to interrupt him, to make him. And he did. I mean, he tried to, but Biden, he was still good about it. He's still able to pull through, but that's such a dick move.
That is such a dick move. That is so cruel. What a horrible. I don't even want to say he's a human being. He's barely a human.
Yeah. But I love the confidence. I think that's really important. And I think that the idea of faking it till you make it is the most, is the most important. I mean, even, when I teach writing, right? Screenwriting, right? And when I talk to the students, I tell them that the first page I write, the first moment I start writing a script, I'm scared. And and I've written I've written hundreds of scripts probably by now, and it's still scary every single time. And the only way I just have to keep writing. I didn't know I have to keep getting through it. And once I get through the first couple of pages, I'm going to be fine. Right. But it's kind of like you're saying, it's like, I'm faking it that I could get through this, even if I have no confidence in that script at the time. And then all of a sudden it comes, right. But it's that same thing where I just have to fight through that uncomfortableness and make it, But have you always been confident, or is that something that you had to learn over time?
I think I definitely had to learn over time. And there was like a long period, I think through high school, I was uber confident. So I was not a shy kid. And like, I always thought I was the coolest kid in school. I don't know if I actually was, I just thought I was. And so, I mean, I think it was just a headstrong, teenager. You don't have the wisdom, you don't have anxiety and depression as much, or at least I didn't, thank gosh, until I was older. So like anxiety and depression, that kind of stuff came when I was older. So then I feel like I don't know what happened, but I think you just become more aware of things. You just have more life experience, more, painful things happen to you. And so you lose a friendship, you have a bad breakup, I don't know, something happens with your family. So I think I could see that I wasn't confident. And then, and I've worked at it and I'm still working on it. I still work on it, but always my go-to is if I'm not feeling confident, I just start acting like it. I just like put it in my eyes and in my back, in my spine, and the way I talk. I just
Yeah,
act
you
it.
you never struck me as not confident. So it's worked. It's definitely worked.
Well, that's kind of you. That's kind of you. Yeah. So I think, yeah, and I think definitely motherhood gave me an extra
Yeah,
confidence.
yeah. It's the mom voice or the dad voice. It's the because I mean, like before, you're right. Because I don't think I was a man till I had a child. To be honest with you, because I think that
See?
the moment I became a dad, it was like I didn't have time to bullshit anymore. I didn't have time
Mm.
to like argue with like especially a kid. It's just like this is what's happening. I'm sorry. Or I go to the park. Like I remember I was at jujitsu once and the people who worked there didn't want to yell at the kids, like the other
Oh.
kids, because they don't have kids and it's not their kids. And I was like, I have no problem yelling at kids. I was like, hey, you stop. Like go over there. And like I'm not gonna touch them or I'm not gonna obviously like do anything like that. But just using my voice, being like, hey, I'm the adult, you're the kid, you stop, turn around, stop that, and go back over. Like, and I don't mind
Are
doing
you?
that because I'm that's my dad voice, right? That's your mom voice, and it comes out when you're like I'm not messing around. I'm not gonna like I don't take any of your stuff. You can't talk to me about this. But that's the confidence of being the parent now, as opposed to when I was like in my 20s when I was just trying to figure stuff out.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's a beautiful thing. That's one of the things about parenting. You just don't even realize till you get in there,
Yeah.
till it happens. Yeah.
So like for me, it was the first time somebody like my cousin or my nephew and niece were like, "That's your dad voice." Because I yelled at somebody about it, and she's like, "Wow, that was the first time I didn't even." They think of me as a cool uncle, but not like dad. And then so that was like the first time they heard it. I was like, "Yeah, that's I'm cool." Uh,
I want to hear your dad voice.
it's me on the sidelines of a game. But
We'll go
what's your
to
oh good.
the Dodger Giants game one day someday. That's when
Yeah,
it'll
I mean,
happen.
like to me, it's like the confidence that people are Giants fans and they think that the Giants are better than the Dodgers. That's a lot of confidence. That takes a lot of mental gymnastics to make that feel reality. Did I tell you? Side note: Did I tell you I broke up with a woman because she was a Giants fan?
You told me that, and I was like, that was just like the straw on the camel's back, right? That wasn't
No,
actually
no, that
your
wasn't the
dream.
only reason. But it was like one of those things. Like, we both love you both love something so much, and it was that one thing that was too much. Like it'd be like the equivalent of dating somebody who like you both love politics and you want to talk about politics, but one's a Republican, one's a Democrat.
Oh
Yeah,
God, I
that would be the
I don't know
equivalent.
how there are. Yeah, that's like I don't understand how that even is a thing.
Yeah,
I mean, I mean, Schwarzenegger and Shriver, right? My
yeah.
grandma and her husband. Yeah.
Although Schwarzenegger is like very liberal Republican. He's not like a
Yeah.
he's not like a QAnon, kind of guy. So
Oh God.
yeah, I mean he's a relatively like normal. I mean, I think he's pro-choice probably. I think he's pro-choice even. So he's not even
Hmm.
like a really conservative Republican. So that's probably not that far. But yeah, that was an issue. But anyway, what's your next piece of advice?
Oh yeah. So are we doing my five and then your five,
Oh no, this is
or
just
is it
you.
only my
This is just
five?
you. It's just only
Oh, it
you today.
is.
Yeah, yeah. And I'll chime in with yours. Yeah,
Oh, that's the me show. I love
that's the
it.
you
There goes
show.
the confidence. No. Actually, I just remembered something. I mean, I wasn't thinking this because this is kind of for Takao, but for anybody that's listening, that likes to wear makeup, supposedly makeup makes people think you're more confident. The studies show. And also, I know I feel like even though I hate wearing makeup, it's like annoying to put on and take off, but it makes me feel better. And that's just like a little tip for anybody that
Yeah.
enjoys wearing makeup
Well, that's the
for
equivalent, I think,
confidence.
of when I work at home. I change. I don't wear like the
Uh-huh.
same clothes that I went to sleep with because I think there's like a mental
Yeah,
thing that happens when I change my clothes. It's like I'm going to work, right? I'm going to work,
love
and
it.
even if it's like 5 feet away from where I was, like it's still going to
Mm,
work. And so it takes like it just adds that like I'm being serious now as opposed to I'm
yeah.
lounging around in my sweatpants or something.
Although that's cool that you do that, because I know a lot of people are doing sweatpants. Sweatpants work from home. Okay, second one is uh friends. Friends, I think are friendship is I know everybody has friendships and friends, but I think they are like one of the pillars of life, and I believe that a good friendship requires, as any relationship does, time and effort and investing. And I believe that when times are tough, friendship makes your life feel abundant and full. And so, you have problems with family. Family, you didn't pick your family generally. And so friends are your family, especially when you're moving or, things change. Sometimes they can be constant for you in your new home. And I just think the value of friends, I have friends that don't have a lot of long-term friends, and their friends are always new. And I know some friends that are more, they don't have a lot of friendships. Like my parents are that way. They don't have really many friends. And I know everybody's different with that, but I'm just like a big proponent of that, because like I have close friends from since I was a teenager, and then I've got another close group of friends from my early 20s, and like I just can't imagine life without them. And I just think that, to Cal, as you make friends, middle school, high school, heck, even elementary school, college, just try to keep them, you know, keep them, and invest in them and give them time and effort. They take time and effort. I once had a college professor say, friends can be a distraction sometimes, Jenifer. And I never forgot that, because I remember I was like, oh, really? What are you talking about? But I knew what he meant. It's because I was in college at university. It was really hard, and I was having a hard time. So I was always trying to hang out with my friends, on the weekends, and it was hurting my studies. Anyway, so that's, seems basic enough, but really important.
Yeah, that's really good. And I'll like to add a 2 cents to this friend thing. As I had a superintendent at Linwood Unified on this podcast, and he said he said the Spanish version of this, and I don't speak Spanish. I don't remember what it was, but it's basically like he could tell the kind of student the student was based on the person's friend.
Huh.
And so I always say that you should be the worst of your friends, not the best of your friends. What I mean by that is that your friends should be smarter, faster, better athletes, whatever it is, as opposed to you being that all of those for all of your friends. And it doesn't have to, you don't have to be last in everything, obviously, but you shouldn't be the best in everything amongst your friends. This is like when I notice a lot with really beautiful women. A lot of times all their friends are ugly. And it's like, and a lot of times it's because they just want to feel like the prettiest person, or people, athletes do that sometimes too, where all their friends are like not as good athletes.
Oh, really?
And it's like, and I think it should be the opposite, because I think your friends drive you. I was just listening to this. I listen to motivational workout things when I work out. And they were saying, and one of the things that really stood out to me was he was saying that even if you're last place amongst your friends, if they're really good, the moment you leave your friends, you're going to be the best, because your friends are really good. It doesn't matter that you're last place amongst your friends, because your friends are fast, or they're better at basketball. But then that means that when you play in a real game, you're going to be better than all of them, everybody else, because as opposed to if you just are better, they're not pushing you to be better, not pushing you to be the best person you can, so I think that's really important. But I love what you're saying about friends, although I think friendship has changed a lot since I became a parent. I think I just don't have as much time.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I
and I
know.
can't. And then, like, especially if people are on different time frames, like two of my best friends have no kids, so it's like, I can never. I can't. It's hard for me to go over and hang out because without my kid, and then one of them has like a toddler, or like a 2-year-old, and it's like,
Yeah.
that doesn't really work out. And so then it's really like, okay, well, we could stop by until the kid gets annoyed, and then we have to leave, or we go to dinner and the kid has to play a video game while I talk, until
I know.
so, I don't know.
No, and that's great advice. Why friends, before you become a parent, that's your time where you get to be all friends and family, right? In your other family, because yeah, once you become a parent, if you choose to do that, it's like, yeah, your time is just, there's just some friends, yeah, I haven't seen in so long. I don't know when I'll ever see them again because yeah, they're in San Jose and it's before parenthood. Yeah. So yep. Oop. Got excited there.
Friends are, and I think as you grow up, I think different friends represent different things. They could see you different ways. They could help you become better things. For me, one of the things in friendship for me was making same-sex friends. I had for a long time I had only female friends, and that became an issue at some point. And I remember thinking I needed to make same-sex friends that were not people I was going to date at some point. And that was really good to have like homie dudes and not a bunch of women that that I was friends with, obviously, but not in the same way as a bunch of dudes that we could watch Laker games together.
Was the reason why the many female friends became an issue because of you had like a jealous girlfriend?
I mean, sometimes it was that, but sometimes I think it was just also like, I think friendships with different genders has different like things, like there's different like things I could do with different kinds of, like, for example, like my guy friends, we don't talk about our emotions. We don't talk. I mean, we could have heavy conversations. Not that we can't have a heavy conversation, but when I call on the phone, we talk about the Lakers for an hour, and like that's like what I want. Sometimes that's what I need. Whereas a lot of times with some of my female friends, it was like it was like so much about our like feelings and thoughts and stuff, and we're kind of like really getting to things. And then I just move on to another friend, and I'd have the same, like a different conversation, but heavy. And they didn't want to talk about basketball with me. So it's like, like I think it's kind of good to sometimes I mean, it's good to have both, a mix, right? Where it's good to be able to talk about that, but also talk about, basketball and things that aren't important in the grand scheme of things. But like, I could text my friend and be like, what do you think about Kobe? What do you think about this? And it's fun. Anyways. And plus, a lot of times I end up dating people and that became an issue,
Yeah.
Once you date your friend and then it becomes like, and then you break up and then there's like, it's hard to be friends still, or, that whole thing.
No, I know exactly what you're talking about. Let's just put it that way.
All right. Well, what's your third piece of advice?
Okay, so my third is mastery. So, okay, this is just my opinion, Takao.
I thought you were going to say masturbate, by the way, for a second. I was like, hey, that's my advice every time. All right. Sorry. I just did a sex episode like last one. That was my advice. But sorry, go on.
You talked about masturbation?
I said that you should definitely do it as much as possible, but not too much.
Oh my God. When are you going to show these videos to him?
I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry. Mastery.
Mastery. Yeah. So mastery, because I believe that if you keep changing your mind and changing paths too many times, and you're never going to get to master something. Now, there are people that are able to dabble in many, many different things, and they are very great at it. And that's because they've mastered each of those things, in my opinion. So like, I think of, I don't know, any of those multi-hyphenates or somebody that changes career multiple times, it depends. Like I can think of like my sister. She's always changing her mind. She's a Gemini, and she's always like doing something different every few years. And she's never really kind of figured out what she wants to do, and she's only like a couple years younger than me. And so she is an example of like where I would say that's not ideal, right? And then I just think pick something and stick with it. And even if you don't really love it, we all go through periods in work and in life where you're sort of like stuck, or you're bored, or you're frustrated. So you just kind of have to work through that. That's a natural part, I think, of anything. And so work through that, really stick to it, give it like, I don't know, years, whatever it is, whether it's basketball or basket weaving, a certain job, line of work that you chose. I just think stick to it. Try to master it.
That's great advice. That's actually in line with the best advice I ever got in entertainment. I was working for the showrunner of the Cosby Show, and I remember he took me aside because at the time I was writing like poetry and short stories and novels and screenplays and everything else. I was just writing everything, and he pulled me aside. He said, Koji, you're a really talented writer. That's why you could write all of that. But he saw the problem is you're not getting great at any of them.
Oh, really?
And then he said, there's a kid in his mother's basement right now that is only writing feature screenplays. All he's writing, and he spends 24 hours writing that every single day while you're messing around writing poems or whatever.
Wow, a
And then he
kid,
said,
like a child.
well, just a guy, a person out there.
Okay, yeah,
and
yeah.
He's going to become a better writer than you because he's not messing around as others. He's focused. He's working on one craft and doing it really well. And so then that really made me think about what I wanted to focus on, and that became feature screenwriting. And then it became like I dedicated everything. I got internships, I got jobs, I started reading scripts, I started writing a lot, only writing that, and it really made me become a better writer as a person, as a writer, because I focused. Like you said, it's about becoming a master at that one. And now I could write other stuff, but it's like I spent so much time working on my craft, like you said, becoming a master of the craft, as opposed to just dabble. And I think that's an issue more with people who, when you have talent in a lot of different things, it's a problem because then you try to do all of it because you don't want to choose. But in reality, you kind of do need to choose at some point,
I have to ask, did you ask the showrunner guy about the Bill Cosby thing?
No, this is when I was working for him was like 20 years ago.
Before.
Yeah. I mean, he's still my Facebook friend, but I don't want to ask him.
Yeah, no. Don't send a DM about that.
Yeah, that'd be too much. That'd be too weird. But again, I always consider him sort of like my mentor. I mean, he gave me my first shot as being like, I was an executive. I went from being an intern to an executive in his company. So it's something that was really meaningful to me, and it meant a lot. But yeah, that advice was really, I just wish I could have tried it earlier. I wish I was focusing earlier than now, later,
Oh, well, you've got a lot of poems and short stories, I'm sure, that are like awesome. So yeah,
they're terrible. By the way, they're all those the short stories and poems are terrible. So I don't know why I was even bothering to write those.
Oh my gosh, I'm sure not. Don't you have like a master's?
Yeah.
You're like super smart. Yeah, and it's like UCLA. You teach at UCLA or went or both?
No, I went to USC and I teach at UCLA. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, I think USC is like, that's where I want my son to go. Doesn't everybody, but that's where I want him to go.
Oh, no, my son's going to top 10 university.
Oh.
Yeah.
So he might have to leave.
He might have to leave. Well, he could go to Stanford or something.
Yeah, Stanford. Yes.
That'd be close.
That would be great.
Stanford.
Totally. Yeah. Yes. So yeah, mastery, right? And I'm a believer of it. I don't know what the time frame is.
Yeah. Well, that's
masters.
Yeah, and that's the hard thing is for even for my son, like right now we're in that, like, he does travel basketball with the Japanese American League. But do we want to, like, we're talking about doing travel baseball now, but then that means he can't do basketball anymore. And so does that, like, at what point do you start to focus on one or two sports, trying to push it out, because I think it's better to not focus so early in sports. But nowadays everyone's focusing so much earlier in sports. Like if you're on the back, like if you're not playing AAU by like 11, 10, you're not probably going to be on an AAU team, like basketball team. And even like baseball.
They're at the same time. Basketball, baseball are both in spring.
No, they're both the travel games, like travel teams.
The travel games.
Basketball is like
time?
No, they're not at the same time. But like for example, baseball travel is like, or baseball travel teams, like you practice like twice a week for like 2 hours, and you probably have like 2 to 3 games a week, and it just makes it hard to do like basketball where you have a practice and a game, and they're just going to conflict. And plus for baseball, like we're going to travel to like Las Vegas and Northern California and Arizona.
So
yeah, but then it's hard to be also like committed to a basketball team where you can't, like you have to start choosing if you can go to a game, if you can't go to the game. It's kind of unfair to the team to be like, oh, sorry, I can't go to the game because I'm in Arizona,
Right. Yeah.
And so, but yeah, it's really, really hard nowadays because everyone is like, all the kids are focusing on sports so early, like a specific sport so early in their careers, whereas as a kid, I was like, I didn't play travel until like 11, 12 years old. And that's when I was able to focus. But nowadays it's like, you have to kind of have a path.
Pick. Yeah. I mean,
so early. Yeah. Which is weird.
So then it's like, which is weird. Yeah. So do you pick based on skill set or what they love or?
Yeah.
hopefully
Yeah.
those are the same thing, right?
Yeah. But
What
a lot
you're
of
good
times,
at, what you
yeah.
love.
But a lot of times it's like that's my worry is about, is it my love or is it his love? Is it right? Because it's like, well, how much do you like that? How good are you? You know, or even like, you know, like we were talking to I was talking to my kid about how, you know, you're not gonna play high school basketball. It's just not gonna happen. You know, like you're not gonna be tall enough. You're not gonna be like, you can't jump. You're not gonna be able to jump out of you're not gonna slam dunk at any time soon. Even if you're like 6 feet tall, which is taller than me, you know, it's gonna be tough for you. Whereas in baseball, conceivably, you could make the majors if you're good enough, and it's not necessarily about how tall you are or how strong you are. You know, there's a lot of other factors. You know, but 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 my son is really good at baseball, so that's his like best part.
Good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So we'll see. But anyway, what's your fourth piece of advice?
So I'm a little phlegmy still. I'm coming from my COVID. I don't even know if you can hear my voice. Oh yeah, fourth one.
It sounds like a smoker's voice.
Oh, it does?
Yeah,
Oh
it's like a little
God,
deeper
ew.
than normal.
Yeah, see? You guys, and I'm on like day like, I don't know what, I've been sick since the 1st. So like whatever day this COVID thing for me is like, I think I'm a long hauler. Like I got sick the other day again. Like I had COVID all over again.
Oh no.
Yeah, I had fever, body ache, headache. Like it was crazy. Anyway, but it's cool. I'm taking care of myself, doing like I must take 15 multivitamins a day. It's like a giant like hamster storage amount. Gulp. It's so many. All right. So okay, yeah. I put life advice is make traditions. So like I have a cousin of mine that was telling me that she wishes growing up she was given her mom, my aunt, had traditions for the family, and like and they never did anything like that. And I know, like for example, if you're a kid of immigrants, a lot of times traditions are already naturally put in there, which is awesome. But if you're not, right, make traditions for your family or with friends, like with your, you know, like I'm going back to friends. So if you aren't a parent, you do it with your friends, whether it's like, yeah, you know, every winter we go to Big Bear once. You know, I just think traditions are, again, they enrich your life, they make your life full, something to look forward to. And it again, it cements friendships, it builds them, and also with family. It's something kids love that stuff, right?
What
So
kind of
just
traditions do you have?
well, I mean, it's even simple things. Sometimes I just make it a tradition, even if it's like very normal. So like every Christmas, we always decorate the Christmas tree together with Christmas music on at my parents' house, and we decorate. My son has been decorating as long as he could hang an ornament, you know, even if he just did one or two. And I just remember doing it as a kid, and it's like we're passing it generationally on. I know everybody decorates Christmas trees, but we have like legit the coolest ornaments, and we have so many. Like my mom was going crazy at the Macy's after Christmas sales all the time. And we have so many gorgeous ornaments. Like our tree is packed. I've never seen a tree this packed. And so the ornaments, like we take them out, you know, you look at them and it's like, oh, I remember this one. This one's my favorite, you know, and with the Christmas music, I don't know. It's just like there's something looking forward to, familiar. It's great. And then another one I think I've told you is this is also a family tradition that I'm passing on to my kid. My dad is mainly the organizer of it, but we go to a different national park every summer. We go hiking. Cool. Remember?
Yeah.
And so since I was a kid, and every summer, it's like our annual summer vacation. We don't go to Mexico, we don't go to Hawaii, what Californians love to do a lot of times. We go to we road trip, and we go to like Glacier in Montana, Yellowstone in Wyoming, Zion in Utah, Yosemite, right? So we have like a different place we go, and it's like, you know, it's just like the field family annual vacation.
That's cool.
I'm trying to think of one more, maybe. Yeah. I'm trying to think of something like my mom makes, like a dish that she makes, like some kind of Korean dish. But yeah. I don't know. Whenever I come home, whenever I visit my parents, my mom always makes me oxtail soup because she knows I'm crazy for it. So it's almost become like this tradition, a new tradition. Every time we go visit my parents now, because they live in SoCal, they moved here 2 years ago, so I see them more often. And she always makes me oxtail soup, which is, it's like, you can't buy it at a restaurant. It's incredible. And it takes so much work, but it's bomb. It's the best oxtail soup. Anyway, so things like that.
Why is tradition important?
An anthropologist would probably have a really great answer for that. But
Why is
I
it important
think,
to you?
yeah, it reminds me of, it gives my life meaning. Like it because it's regular, there's a pattern to it, and it's like every year, every Christmas, whatever it is, it sort of makes you connected to who you always were. I don't know, like it connects to the core of my being. Like it sits with me. I'm just thinking out loud, right? Like this is who I am. I've been doing this since I was 6. Here I am at 96 and I'm still doing it, you know? It's like this getting just kind of like a nostalgia, but better than nostalgia, like connecting to who you are and remembering that that is the same person throughout. And there's something just meaningful to it.
Wow, I feel like my
Like it
life
gives
is.
me identity.
I feel
I
like my
think the
life
word
is
I said.
less. I need to create some kind of tradition.
Yeah, sure.
I don't think we have that
I'm
many.
sure. I'm sure you guys have traditions and you don't even know it. I'm just trying to think of things I see you post that you guys do together.
I
Those
mean,
are
well,
traditions.
yeah, I have to figure. I mean, we have like Christmas stuff that we do, but I don't know if it's like.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I'd like we formally ever thought of it as a tradition necessarily. I mean, I
Yeah.
think it's
Like,
also hard because there's like a lot of drama in my family and my wife's
uh,
family as well for a while. And so it's always been like, so for a while we were kind of on our own.
yeah.
So I think it's been interesting, but maybe a road trip with my kid might be because we try to go on a road
Yeah.
trip every summer. We drive
Yeah,
somewhere.
exactly. And so it's like something I never even thought about it either till my cousin had mentioned it like a few years ago. She's like, I never had traditions growing up. I was like, oh. And then I started thinking, I guess some of the things I do are traditions. And then I
Yeah.
started calling them traditions. And
Yeah.
like my friends and I, we started it, then go back to friends. My friends and I, we go to Lake Tahoe together every summer. That's like a friends thing.
Yeah.
Now we all have kids, so it's become like our tradition with the
Family.
kids, and
Yeah.
yeah, family trip. We just sort of started it like a few years ago, and I don't know, we like talk about it all year. We're so excited every year.
That's okay.
Tahoe,
I,
yeah,
I, I do think there's value in in calling something a tradition, and then because it means more than just I do it every year. There's
exactly.
value in kind of this being able to do it all the time, you know. Yeah,
Just
I don't have
calling
anything
it.
like that. I need to figure one out. Now I feel like my life is less important, has less
Oh
importance.
no,
I'm just
you
kidding.
you totally have traditions. You just got to call them. Just got to
Yeah,
call it
I need to start to
tradition.
call
Yeah.
it traditions. Okay. All right. What's your last piece of advice?
Okay. Yeah. I don't know how we're doing on time.
We're
Am I
okay.
going long or short?
No, we're good. We're good.
I feel like I talk too long. Whenever I
No, no,
watch
no.
our podcast, I'm always like, gosh darn it, stop talking. Okay, last one is super fun. I think this one's really unique and I'm so excited to share it.
Okay.
So to
Got it.
Cal and Koji and anybody listening, the most makes me so happy. My general last piece of life advice is learn how to dance
Oh, that's a good one.
because dancing is a very important social skill. And you can see with the rise of TikTok, right? People are dancing. It's like mainly kind of like that's the first thing you usually do is like dancing videos, or it's popular for that. But I'm talking that I've always thought this before TikTok. The reason is because people get married. There are always school dances and school dances, weddings. There's always dancing, and you got to know or be confident to get out there and dance. You don't have to be a good dancer. You don't have to take dance classes. But if you think you want to, like, you don't know what you're doing, take some dance classes for a few years, you know? You can be the worst person in class. It's totally cool. And the reason is because I've like been around people over the years where they are very shy about dancing. They just want us to be a wallflower, or uh, they're just, oh, I'm bad at dancer. I can't dance. So it just sort of like, it's a good social skill. And like, because it just comes up. And I'm somebody, Koji, where I was a terrible dancer. I'm terrible at sports, unfortunately. I'm not good at any of that stuff, but I took dancing since I was a kid. And I love to dance, but I'm terrible. I think I'm terrible. I mean, sometimes people are like, "You're such a good dancer, Jenifer." And I'm like, "No, I'm not that good." It's because I took lessons forever, and I've been clubbing with my friends. So I watch people how they dance at the club, and like for example, I learned there's one breakdance move, the coffee grinder. If you know what that is, it's pretty simple. I learned how to do that in like 6th grade. I could still do it. And I always whip it out at every little party and wedding. And people think it's hilarious because I'm doing this like thing on the ground, you know, this roundhouse on the ground thing. Anyway, that's just a small example, but I'm not that great of a dancer. And I just figured it out, and it's a great skill.
Well, I think it's also especially a great skill for boys because especially like in middle school, high school, when the boys are all on the side. And if you're confident, like you can dance with every single girl in the room, as long as you're not the weirdo who's like trying to hump the girl. But
yes, don't do that.
If you're just having fun, like you can dance with like everybody, all the girls want to dance with you. I mean, you know, because you're just out there having fun while all the other kids are just not. So yeah, I totally agree. You know, I think that's like, however, what I always say to people is gangsters don't dance. So I just do my 2-step and I'm good.
There you go. There you go, gangster. Oh my God, gangsters. I can't think of, gangster being all cool and stuff. And
Kind of sway.
Swaying is great. But yeah, that's a good little, since we're on this tip, Takao, don't be humping the girls on the dance floor, even as an adult. We don't like that always. I never liked that.
Yeah.
Don't bump and grind. Just keep your distance. If she wants to, if they want to, I mean, if they want to get up on you and bump and grind and hump style, you know, that's fine. But I don't like that. I just want to burn some calories and feel the music. And
I mean, you don't want somebody randomly coming up and trying to hump you. That's
God, and it happens every time. It's terrible. It's just like, it actually makes me think, I'm not going to give you the time of day. I'm definitely not going to give you my number. If you're like at a distance, you know, and show me your cool dance moves or your 2-step sway, I feel like come on over here. Come over here and hump me now. Yeah.
Although funny story is that the right before this episode, is it right before? I think it is right before this episode. We had this a baseball coach come on, and one of his pieces of advice was no girl.
Oh, like no girlfriend.
No girlfriend rule, because his thing was like a lot of times like he'll have a kid who's like tired at practice, and he'll say, oh, like, what were you, you know, like, why are you tired? He's like, oh, I was talking to a girl till 3:30 in the morning. He's like, you should have been asleep. You have 8 o'clock practice. You need to be at practice, not tired. And so he's like, like, you know, what I would say about in that regard is, when you're 16 and you have nothing going for you, there's 0 reasons why a girl would want to hang out with you. But if you work hard and you become successful, you can pretty much talk to anybody you want. So and as you're more confident, like we talked about confidence, but as you're more confident, as you are good at something, you've mastered something, and you have some kind of success, then that's when you actually will be able to talk a lot more to people, as opposed to like when you have nothing going for you, you're like, you have 0 money, you have like, you're still, you know, living in your mom's house. It's not that exciting.
That's really great advice. I should remember with my kid, because like, don't encourage, if anything, don't try to get a girlfriend right away. Like, you need to be focused on getting good at a sport, focusing on school, getting into a great college. It is. It's a distraction.
It's way easier being Dr. Koji than it is to be like freshman at Pasadena City College. No offense to city colleges, Koji. Like, I mean, there's a whole difference in terms of the kind of people you're gonna pull. And the only thing I would say to that though is because I don't necessarily think that you don't need to have a girlfriend, but I would say that like the way they react to what you do and how they encourage you is probably the most important thing. I remember when I was dating, and if I was with a person that was like, why do you have to write tonight? I knew that was somebody I didn't want to be with, because they're not encouraging me to be myself, to do what I needed to do. Whereas I needed to be writing, I can't just go to the mall and like watch you shop for like 4 hours. I mean, every once in a while that's fine, but like my job is to write, and I want to be encouraged to do what I'm passionate about, not to try to not to have a fight like between either doing something I love or being with someone I love, right? Those two things shouldn't be in conflict. And I think that just like school, just like sports or whatever you're doing, trying to be successful, I want that person that's going to encourage me to be the best me, not make me choose between being the best me and being with them, right? Like, I think, and me too, like I want to encourage the person I'm with to be the best them, not to choose between me and making some kind of choice. Like if they have to make a choice, we're probably not the right couple, because that's not fair, but
absolutely.
Or just get rid of them totally.
Yeah. Totally.
But dancing, I love the dancing idea. I think that's really, really important, because it is like, and I think people want to be around people that are having fun.
Exactly.
Like if you're just out there having fun, like then people like that. And if you're just looking like you're just staring at women from the side or staring at people from the side, and like it's not that fun to be around you.
I know. Yeah, and you just kind of like, you're the one sitting at the table. Everyone else at your wedding, at your assigned tables, up there dancing. I really think of weddings. When you get old, that's when you're older, right?
Yeah.
And like, and again, as someone that comes from someone like me, you don't have to be a good dancer. You don't even have to have that many moves. You could just have your little two-step. Yeah, just get out there. Just don't be shy. And it's good exercise. It's good exercise.
And actually it's similar to the advice I always give to Takao about jokes. It's similar to that, in that you should tell jokes that you think are funny, not what you think other people think are funny. And the reason being is, if you think your joke is funny and you tell the joke, at least you're laughing. The other people might not laugh at your joke, but they'll appreciate that you're telling a joke that you think is funny. The worst kind of people are the kind of people that are telling jokes that they don't think are funny, but they think people think are funny, and it comes off as fake. So it's the same thing as dancing. Even if you're not a good dancer and you're having fun,
right,
people won't. They might make fun of you, but ultimately they appreciate the worst kind of dancers are the dancers that are like super serious about it, right? And they're like, and they think that they're like they're doing something spectacular, but they're not having fun. Right? They're not having fun. And I think that's what like comes off as like fake or kind of like not cool. If you're a bad dancer and you're having fun, people will be like, he's having fun. They might make fun of you for a second, but ultimately they'll forget about you because you're having fun. Right?
Totally.
Like, and I think that's the key. And same thing with jokes, same thing with just being yourself. I think is just, if you're having fun, if you could just be within yourself, then you'll be good. I think it's hard though. It's hard.
Yeah,
I tell jokes, and I remember people think I'm weird, especially when I was young, but it was okay though, because I was just telling my own joke, and I was laughing at my own jokes, and no one else was laughing, and it was what it is.
Yeah, and at least you were laughing, right? Yeah, somebody's laughing.
I remember my old boss I shouldn't say it, one of my old bosses was like, that was just probably go to a meeting, you tell these bad jokes, and I remember being like, do you think they're funny? Like, do you really think these jokes are funny? He's like, yeah. Like, he's like, he thought other people thought it was funny. I was like, nobody's laughing. And I was like, and he's like, you tell jokes. I was like, but I tell jokes that I think are funny. And so even if no one's laughing, I'm laughing, and I think it's funny, and everyone appreciates that. Like, they just say, oh, that's Koji's sense of humor. And so it's not an awkward moment. It's just laughing at Koji moment if nobody else thinks, it's just my moment, as opposed to like, it's a totally awkward moment for every single person in the room. But
dude, I love that. I like the joke one.
Yeah, I need to get my kid into dance, and I need to get him to dance more.
You guys could
That's
just have a
it.
little dance party. Yeah, just
Yeah.
my girlfriend, she has like her 2-year-old or 3-year-old on watching the Kids Bop videos on YouTube. I mean, I don't want to encourage a social network necessarily, social media, but she like a little 3-year-old and she's got very good moves and she was like moving her hips and I was like, how does she dance so good already? And like she's like, she watches Kids Bop videos.
Oh, interesting. Okay. That's like
So
that's like Quentin's kid. Quentin's our fellow podcaster, Quentin Lee, and his kid does dance classes.
oh, he
And
does. So
he
does
does.
AB.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
It's like, yeah, I got Abe. That was the first class I think I gave him was dance, but at
yeah.
4. But it's because I remembered I took dance and I could tell I thought he kind of needed it because I saw like his other toddler friends and they were already kind of moving and grooving and he was just kind of being like just dancing with his arms, like just doing weird creative expression. I was like, he needs to learn how to move his hips a little bit. So
Oh
and it's good exercise.
I was on a totally different track. I was like, we're gonna do jujitsu, we're doing baseball and basketball and hockey. And dancing was like the last thing I thought of. But now I feel like maybe I missed the boat.
No, I mean, it's mainly girls anyway that are doing the dance class. So he's totally fine. And he's busy. Takal's busy boy. He's
Yeah,
got
he
a
is
full
really
plate.
busy. He's
Yeah.
really busy, but maybe you could do it.
Yeah.
He's not
Maybe
a
like a
loser.
dance camp, like a summer dance camp,
Oh,
like a 1 week.
that sounds like for losers.
Confidence.
That's like fat camp or something. These are the people that cannot dance are going to the dance camp for a week.
Oh my God, it
That's
does
pretty funny.
sound like fat camp.
I was just reading about a camp. It's called the Poor Camp, where people learn how to be poor. It's in New York.
Oh.
I want to start a camp. Maybe you could start it with me. I want to start a camp where kids have to work in an iPhone factory and figure out what it's like to actually have to work for a living and what it feels like to be poor.
Oh.
And so all day they put one piece of Lego on top of another piece as it goes by them. And then if they don't do enough, they get punished. And then they get very bad food conditions and very bad eating. And then they'll learn right away that their cell phones are like, that they'll appreciate life a lot more, in other words, at the end of this camp.
I see. So it's like they're kind of like working, but like working under the worst possible type of job and also being like living poorly that week, like not having television.
Yeah. Like it's
iPads.
it would be like child labor sweat camp, except we're not really making anything. We're just teaching them that what it's like to be in a third world and forced to work very early. So you have little
That's
hands.
interesting. Well, they have it in New York already, huh? So because otherwise it sounds really like, I don't know, out there, but they already have it going.
What it takes like to, like live in a small apartment or something, or I just like, why do you have to pay for that? But at least mine, you're like doing like work, maybe I could even, if I could like partner with a cell phone company that needs like little parts put together or something, that would be even better. Then I could sell those parts. Like a widget, right? A widget every time, like a widget goes by. Tommy, why aren't you only did 400? You need to do 600 every single day. No food for you today.
Dude, these kids would come out humbled. I might sign up Abraham because he's so spoiled and I'm so tired of it.
Yeah, see, I mean, yeah, you would appreciate these kids would appreciate what it's like to work,
Dude, exactly.
And you have to pay me like 10 grand. I'm gonna do like a camp will be like 10 grand. It's not gonna be cheap.
Oh my
Anyways,
God. I love it.
Thank you, Jenifer, so much for listening to my crazy advice or crazy idea about the camp, and thanks you for your advice.
I love it.
And everybody, please rate, review, subscribe to this podcast, Guy Code. I was about to say Midnight Watchers, but I'm not doing Midnight Watchers anymore. But and stay tuned because we are going to release at some point eventually our newest podcast that we're working on, and so stay tuned for that. And I'll talk about it here once it's up and ready to go. All right, guys, thank you. Bye.